Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this time, I'm Qomarul Islami with Elza Mareta now as my partner will present the result of our research entitled Blended Learning Students' Experiences in English Intensive Class of Tarbiyah Faculty in Islamic State University of Sunan Ampel, Surabaya. In the study, the researcher will find out how the students' experiences when learning by using blended learning approach and will know the effectiveness of the blended learning approach. Introduction. Blended learning has become a popular form of education. It means integrating the online and face-to-face formats to create a more effective learning experience. With blended learning, teachers can use online resources in their daily classroom activities to engage students and help them become more active and more effective learners. Badawi defined blended learning as flexible approach that combine face-to-face learning activities with online learning practices that allow students to exchange collective and individual feedback and responses in 4 specific areas, namely learner feedback, learner strategies, and alternative assessment synchronously. Low alert indicates a mixture of teaching and learning methods will always be the most efficient manner in which to support students' learning, because only then it is possible to embrace all the activities of discussion, interaction, adaptation, and reflections, which are essential for academic learning. Another important benefit of blended learning is that it saves time. According to McCarthy and Murphy, students will be able to complete programs in less time. Methods. Here, we have 2 research questions. First, how is the learning experience of students in English intensive class at Tarbiyah Faculty of UINSA? Second, what are the advantages and disadvantages of blended learning in English intensive class? So, to answer these research questions, the journal used qualitative research design. The design of the study is descriptive, which intends to provide students perception about student experience in intensive English class at the Tarbiyah Faculty of UINSA. Qualitative data and results. For the participants, we choose 8 students from second semester in each major in Tarbiyah Faculty who are in Intermediate 1 level in Intensive Bahasa Inggris or EB class. For the interview, we used semi-structural interview.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Elza Mareta as the next presenter. So in this section, I will explain about finding and discussion. The use of blended learning strategies in intensive English class encourages lecturers to carry out more varied learning activities. So based on 8 respondents from the intermediate level interviewed by the researchers, the activities that implement the blended learning strategy that are often carried out by the lecturers are pair or group work discussion, role plays, online assessment, and also online learning through videos and audios. The researchers found that the students in intensive English class find learning English with blended learning strategies more enjoyable. Of course, this activity can increase their English language skills and improve students' thinking power by studying individually. Whereas the traditional face-to-face approach can help in developing a strong value system. Social skills like cooperation, sharing, expression, and respecting other views are more easily developed in traditional mode of teaching. Students learn not only from books or from teachers teaching in the classroom, but also from the co-students through their peer group interaction. So So based on the results of the data collected, the researcher found several advantages and disadvantages felt by the students in the use of blended learning in their intensive English class. The advantages are various learning activities. So because some of the activities have been carried out online, the lecturer can maximize learning activities in the classroom. The next is it can be increased the interaction between the students and also the teacher. It can also improve teacher quality, and the last is flexibility. It means that the students could share their opinion related to the material being discussed. Based on the findings, students were sharing material in both face-to-face and online learning. While the disadvantages are, it can be lack of the internet connection, inadequate facilities. Of course, when blended learning applied in a class, we need some technology like LCD projector, and it requires considerable cost. And the last is lack of explanation in online learning. It is because during online learning, it's hard for the students to ask to the teacher directly. Some of the disadvantages that have been mentioned by participants become their obstacles in learning English. However, students can overcome several obstacles in their own way. For example, when they have lack of internet connection, they can go to the Wi-Fi corner. The use of blended learning strategies in learning requires adequate facilities and infrastructure in the classroom. So therefore, implementing blended learning is not an easy thing. It requires certain fundamental preparation in all the elements of teaching learning process, such as teachers, students, content designing, and infrastructure. So here are the basic requirements for implementing a successful blended learning. The first one, well-trained teacher. The second, complete facilities such as well-furnished computer labs, internet connection. It is the compulsory factor of blended learning. Blended learning largely depends on the infrastructure. Schools should not only have a good classrooms, but should also have a well-furnished computer laboratories with sufficient number of computers to cater to all the students of one class, and the internet facility, a Wi-Fi campus if possible. The third, students have access to the internet at their private computers or gadgets, and the last is fully aware and agreed parents. So the parents should be made well aware of this innovative approach to the teaching so that they are ready for it and support their work for the blended learning and can accept that this deviation from traditional teaching is beneficial for these children. So the conclusion of this study, blended learning is an innovative concept that embraces the advantages of both traditional teaching in the classroom and technology-supported learning, including both offline learning and online learning. By knowing the experience of using blended learning by students in the English intensive class of the Tarbiyah faculty at Sunan Ampel State Islamic University in Surabaya, it can be said that the blended learning strategy is quite effective if it has fulfilled some of the conditions mentioned. Researchers found that students in intensive English class find learning English with blended learning strategies more enjoyable and do not make them easily bored. And also here is some references that the researchers used in the study. So I think that's all for our video presentation about our research titled Blended Learning, Students' Experiences in English Intensive Class of Tarbiyah Faculty in Islamic State University of Sunan Ampel, Surabaya. Thank you so much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.